Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Thursday night football is right around the corner. I am recording this video on Tuesday morning right here on twitch.tv/Al_smizzle. If you want to join the live shows, please. I stream 5 days a week, 6 days a week during football season. Come by and check things out. There's a link down below in the description. We are going to break down the single game showdown on Thursday night on DraftKings between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans. This game is in Jacksonville. These teams both play really slow, defensively sloppy, bully ball. There's not a lot of offense projected for this game. I believe it has an overall team total or an overall total of 40 expected points. This is gonna be ugly. Thursday night football always is, generally speaking, not always is. Thursday night football is usually the bad matchups, right? Every team has to get a primetime game in the NFL. That's what they've collectively bargained for. Every team has at least one. Between Thursday night, Sunday night, or Monday night football has one primetime standalone game to showcase their talents to the entire nation. This week, it is time for these two teams, and they're going to knock out two birds with one stone, putting them against each other. And so we get games like this one, leading us to a slate that might be a winning score of 90 or 95 showdown points. So every single fraction of a point is going to matter. Every decision that you make on this slate is going to matter that much more because the margins for victory are going to be that much smaller. I would not be shocked to see money change hands if this game is over and one team's in victory formation and their quarterback takes 2 or 3 kneel downs, losing 1/10 of a point or 2/10 of a point on each kneel down, having that much money change hands. That's how slim the margins are here in week 3. So we're going to get into it. Last year I did one of these videos kind of as a joke, and I didn't talk during the whole video because I didn't want to talk about the teams, and I did a silent show. I'm not doing that this year. Don't worry. Get your mouse from hovering over that thumbs down button. Please, if you would be so kind, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that notifications bell because I'm coming out with 6 to 8 videos every single week during NFL season. And let's just kind of take a look at things. The first thing, somebody asked me on stream right before we went live with this video, how do you make 150 lineups and doesn't it take you forever to get all those lineups in? Personally, no, not for me. I use the daily roto optimizer. People ask me what tools I use. That's where I get them. There's a link down below in the description if you wanted to go check out daily roto. They provide an optimizer and projection, some of the best in the industry for NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, college football, and golf. Very easy lineup builder to use, very easy optimizer to use, and I've produced a lot of different videos to help you with that. The card will come up right now for you guys if you want to go check out that playlist on the channel. But that's it for that. Why don't we go check out what's waiting for us here on this slate? Early projections have 2 players on the slate projected for over 15 DraftKings points. Gross. You know, juxtapose that with the Monday night football game we just saw between the Jets and the Browns, which was in and of itself a gross game, and there were like 5 or 6 players that projected for over 15 fantasy points. This one has 2. The 2 players are not Derrick Henry, shockingly, although I think he is a viable captain, albeit the most expensive one on the slate. Leonard Fournette projecting as the highest point player on the slate because you know what his volume is going to be, right? In 2 straight games, he has seen 6 targets. We love that in full PPR. That's a gold mine. So you get a guy like Fournette who, when they get close, is going to get all of the usage when they're inside the 5-yard line. They're gonna have to play with a lead if he's going to get over 20 carries, but in a situation where they're actually moving the ball, and these 2 teams do play slow, so I don't foresee them moving the ball all that great, especially with Minshew there. Yes, he's not terrible, but he's not also amazing. So this offense takes a step down from even Nick Foles, where they weren't going to be setting the world on fire. But you do have Lenny Fournette, who could get you 20 to 25 touches, including all of the goal line work. The knock before on Fournette was that he was never included in the pass game. Now that we're getting 4 catches a game from in each of the 2 weeks, that doesn't mean that this is going to stay static for the rest of the year. But 6 targets the first 2 weeks is extremely encouraging. His usage in the pass game, extremely encouraging, and Minshew not really going to take that many shots downfield. So the low A-dot targets very easily convertible into catches for somebody like Fournette, plus the goal line work. And you know, if they're playing with a lead, he is not coming out. Now a game flow independent back, probably going to be the most owned captain on this slate, and for good reason, with Jacksonville playing at home. And Marcus Mariota is the other player projected for over 15 fantasy points for this game. And we've spoken about how I like to cap my quarterbacks in the captain spot, right? I'm going to make quarterback captain lineups because they can end up being the highest scoring guy on a slate. But if there's one long touchdown, that wide receiver is going to end up being the highest scoring guy in the slate. If he throws 2 touchdowns to his tight end, Delaney Walker, he's going to end up being the highest scoring guy in the slate. Or if Henry ends up breaking 100 yards and doing what he can do with a little bit of inclusion in the pass game and the goal line work, he's going to end up being the highest end scoring guy in the slate. Quarterbacks are kind of capped. Yes, you can win a showdown slate with a captain that is a quarterback, but it's a lot more rare than the other positions, running back and wide receiver. Not even a tight end, but the running backs and wide receivers win the vast majority of showdown slates at captain. He's just not throwing it that much, and he was a non-participant on Monday, but isn't everybody always a non-participant in Monday practices on a normal week when a game is Sunday to Sunday? Now they're on the short week, not practicing with quad issues after being sacked, getting hit a bunch of times this last weekend against Indy. I would love to see Mariota healthy for this game. He looked pretty spry in week 1 against Cleveland. Week 2 against Indy, that's kind of a slog fest. We'll see how quickly he can recover to be involved in this game. Jacksonville, obviously a tough matchup defensively. The Mustachio, Minshew once again posted a great completion percentage in week 2. Completed 22 of his 33 passes for 69%. Nice. Problem is he's not taking many downfield threats. He's dumping the ball off short. Guys who are the biggest beneficiaries of that have been Leonard Fournette. The other biggest beneficiary of that has been DJ Shark. And chat kind of wanted me to do this to you, so I put them through it, so you got to get through it too, YouTube. So DJ Shark do 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 do, DJ Shark do 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 do, and now you're gonna sing that song for the rest of the week and probably the rest of the year. Anytime you look to roster DJ Shark do 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 do. 9 targets in week 2 after 4 targets in week 1. I don't think that either one are going to be the standard. A touchdown in both weeks, that's definitely not going to be the standard. There's no way he's going to have 16 touchdowns on the year in this offense. It just kind of is the way that it goes, right? So that touchdown regression going to hit at some point. But at 7,600 in the flex for this slate, I do think that he's captain viable as well, considering that his price at captain is 11.4. And as we said, I want to load up on running backs and wide receivers. So the running backs and wide receivers I'm loading up on at captain are here, 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 here. I know I'm going to go over the salary cap and I don't care. I'm also going to have shares of Corey Davis and AJ Brown, but lower shares of them. DD Westbrook as well, even though he's got a really ridiculously low ADOT, under 4 yards per target. Chat is rioting because I said they wanted this. They did. They asked for it. Come by Twitch and let my chat know that you're not happy with them asking for that DJ Shark joke to be in part of the video. I'm going to have some shares of Delaney Walker as well in captain, but we got to talk about how we're utilizing these players in the captain spot. As you know, I use an optimizer to build my lineups, which means that I have to focus on correlation and groups. First things first, I do want to limit my quarterback captains. If I'm going to have Marcus Mariota in the captain spot, I'm going to be sure that every one of my Marcus Mariota groups is going to have at least 2 of all of his pass catchers. I am not going to include Derrick Henry in those groups as I don't consider him a pass catcher. He will still end up in some of my Marcus Mariota lineups, but I don't need him in those Marcus Mariota lineups. I've talked a lot about the correlation matrix, things that go together, right? And things that don't go together, but can work. We've said you have to know when you can break the rules. The rules I'm going to set is that Mariota must be used with 2 of his pass catchers, those pass catchers probably being defined as Delaney Walker. Deion Lewis hasn't seen enough usage, but for the sake of a showdown slate, I'm probably going to put him in that group. Probably going to put Corey Davis in that group, even though he has not seen the usage. Nobody's seen the usage that we want them to see in this group. They just don't pass it that much. AJ Brown, and I'm hoping that somebody like Adam Humphries, who they paid a ton of money to and negotiated against the Patriots to get onto this Titans roster, is going to see more than 2 targets in a game. So he also will be in that Marcus Mariota group for me, at least 2 of those pass catchers in every group. And I will let the optimizer throw in some Derrick Henry where it throws in some Derrick Henry. In my Minshew at captain lineups, I'm going to set a group to force it to have at least 2 of all of his pass catchers, but in that group I'm going to throw Leonard Fournette in there, as he has gotten a good healthy amount of targets in each game. Westbrook is going to be in that grouping, as well as 1 or 2 more of these cheaper guys like Jeff Swaim, possibly Jeff O'Shaughnessy. They're not big target guys, but they do see some work, and in the case of a showdown, anybody can score 1 or 2 touchdowns. And if they're getting 4 targets at a price like $1,400, 1 touchdown just blows up the entire slate, and you need to have him if you want to win those Minshew lineups or cash as high as you can with them. I don't make running back groupings. Typically, I will make groupings around the pass catchers. So if I've got a Delanie Walker at captain lineup, I'm going to force the optimizer to have Marcus Mariota in 100% of my Delanie Walker lineups. The easy way to do that, you set a group, you set exactly, you set a group, Delanie Walker at captain as a key player in that group. And then you say, I want Marcus Mariota, exactly 1 of Marcus Mariota in every single one of the Delanie Walker captain lineups. That's the only groups that I set for that. Same thing goes for pretty much every pass catcher. Same thing goes for Westbrook in captain. Same thing goes for DJ Chark in captain. Same thing goes, not for Leonard Fournette in captain. I don't need to have Minshew in that lineup. I would probably make a group that says at most 1, so that he will be in some of those Leonard Fournette at captain lineups, but not a necessary force in those. But I don't even know that you need to force him, as quarterbacks tend to have a high, quarterbacks tend to have a high median projection, and therefore end up higher in your overall allocations without having to group them with players. So he will end up in some of those lineups without having me to really force him in there. So a look at a quick build: Leonard Fournette, Mariota, probably going to have Minshew in that one as well. I'm going to want to have Derrick Henry, even though I usually hate having 2 running backs on opposing teams in showdown. It can make more sense, especially in a showdown like this where we know where the volume's going to go. Both of these guys are going to see heavy volume for their teams. Now we're going to have to find some cheap players. Probably a kicker in this situation, and that leaves us with 2,100 left. Maybe a guy like Jeff Swaim. I am more likely to leave money on the table in showdown than not. And the last group that I make has been the defenses and the kickers, whether they're at captain or at flex. I typically will make a group limiting the 4 players between the 2 defenses and the 2 kickers to 1 max in a lineup. In a game like this, it looks like it's going to be a low scoring game with teams that don't have very great efficiency around the goal line. I'm probably going to extend that to a max of 2 kicker plus defense in any single lineup. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for showing up once again. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that notifications bell so that you can be notified. I don't want you to miss any one of the almost 10 uploads I'm making right now during football season. Don't want you to miss the release on any one of those. So please ring that notifications bell, and hopefully you guys have yourselves a good Thursday night and a great sweat in single game showdown. Bye.